I think in an educational setting, we're just not using cell phones as a resource. And also, too, we're kind of baby out with the bathwater mentality as well, like, you shall not use your phone in this class. It's inappropriate for staff to give their cell phone to students, and all of those kind of things. I think that there's a kind of need to develop protocols around how, when and why you use your cell phone, Is ignoring the phone part of the protocols? Is that rude? All of that stuff, John. Did you see in the paper tonight there's that thing about this teacher being done for inappropriate texting of a student?
No.
Inappropriate use of a cell phone with a student. Yeah. I'm using cell phones at the moment in the development of this next course, the sister course to the treaty, so that people get a text reminder in terms of the outcome. They develop these action plans, right, of things that initiatives that they're going to do within their work setting, and then they're emailed a reminder of what they said that they were going to do in a couple of weeks, and they'll also have the option to have it sent to their cell phone. That's 9,000 people be doing that, but the nature of cell phones, it's because it's so personal, it is. We're going to make it optional that people put their cell phones on. For all sorts of different communities, that mobile phones are the most kind of powerful piece of technology that children invariably have and people have access to, and yet the ways in which we utilise or don't use it or underutilise that resource is really apparent. Our children themselves write digital stories all the time, or their idea of digital stories are different and spontaneous. So, some of those things are less kind of reflective, but more snapshots of time. So the older generations are kind of more interested in developing these pseudo-documentary type archives, Sit down there next to Auntie and take a video with you and, those kinds of things. Whereas my children, and no doubt yours do too, are constantly singing songs into their digital phone. They may or may not upload to YouTube or the virtual par or whatever, but they're constantly kind of creating these little bits and pieces, not necessarily for with a notion of preserving those long term, but just because they can. And so we are dealing with a generation that consider a mobile phone an essential tool of communication. And perhaps my generation would perceive a phone in the house as the same, and perhaps previous generations would have considered electricity essential. But if my daughter lost a cell phone, she would need one replaced instantly, Not just because she's indulged, but it would cause much problems in her life. Yeah. Yeah, like planning events and stuff like that. They have an expectation to be able to talk to someone in the car and arrange it down there, and they're a lot more communicate as they think rather than preparing or having things organised ahead of time because of the restraints of not having instant communication.